Chosen one, stop. Right where you are, stop. The way you woke up this morning, that heaviness in your chest, that achy in your knees before your feet even hit the floor, that wasn't age. That was assignment. Listen to me carefully. While you were sleeping, while your body was resting in that same bed you've been sleeping in for 30 years, something happened in the invisible realm. Heaven marked this morning, circled it, highlighted it in gold, and you woke up different. I know exactly how your morning started. You reached for those pills on the nightstand, the ones you've been taking so long you don't even read the label anymore. You shuffled to the kitchen, joints protesting every step. The coffee pot started dripping. The TV hummed that same morning show you've watched for a decade. The house was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you wonder if anyone would notice if you just disappeared. But here's what you didn't see. Here's what your natural eyes couldn't catch. Before the sun came up, before that first bird started singing, before your alarm clock went off, an angel walked into your bedroom and whispered your name over your spirit. Not the name on your birth certificate, your eternal name, the one God calls you when no one else is listening. And something shifted. You felt it, didn't you? That strange stirring. That unexplainable knowing that today is different. You can't put your finger on it, but something in your soul knows this morning was not ordinary. Now, and this is urgent, if you click away from this message, if you scroll past this moment, you may walk right past the very answer you've been praying for since 1990, since 2005, since the night you buried your spouse and whispered, "God, do you even remember my address?" Before we go 1 second further, I want to pause and honor those of you who've supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your time, your attention, your open heart, it all matters. And if something is already stirring in your chest, go ahead and let the Holy Spirit lead. In about 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you the one sign that proves this morning was heaven sent. But first, you need to understand why God chose you. Why your bedroom? Why your timeline? Why this exact moment in January 2026? This morning was a letter from heaven slid under your door. And beloved, you almost stepped over it. If something in your spirit is already trembling, if you feel that electricity running through your veins right now, type in the comments, "I'm ready for this revelation." Let heaven see your agreement. Let the angels take notice. Because what I'm about to tell you will explain every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment you thought God forgot you. This morning, it was marked before you were born. Stay with me. You know what most people don't understand about God? He's obsessed with mornings. Not afternoons, not evenings when you're tired and ready to give up. Mornings, when everything is fresh, when the slate is clean, when hope hasn't been beaten down by the day yet. Open your Bible to Lamentations 3:22-23. Listen to what it says. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, every single. Not some mornings, not good mornings. Every morning, God wakes up before you do and loads fresh mercy into your day like ammunition. But here's what breaks my heart. You've been waking up for 70, 80, maybe 90 years, and somewhere along the way, you stopped believing your mornings matter. You started thinking, "I'm just killing time until I die. Just taking my pills, watching my shows, waiting for the phone to ring." That's a lie straight from hell. Let me show you something that's going to shake you. Every major move of God in Scripture happened at dawn. When did God create light? Morning of day one. When did the women discover the empty tomb? Early morning, while it was still dark. When did Jesus pray his most powerful prayers? Mark 1:3 tells us, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up. left the house and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Why mornings? Because God loves beginnings. He loves reset buttons. He loves taking what looked dead yesterday and breathing life into it today. And beloved, that includes you. You may feel like your best mornings are behind you. You may think your most important days were in your 30s when you were raising kids, or your 40s when you were building your career. But in God's calendar, some of the most explosive mornings happen in your 60s, 70s, even your 80s. Moses was 80 when God met him at the burning bush. 80 years old, and God said, "Now your morning is here." Because here's what you need to understand. There are two kinds of time operating in your life right now. The Greeks called the first one chronos, that's clock time, alarm clock buzzing at 6:40 am. Pills at tam-zun, coffee at tam-t-thifime, doctor's appointment at 10:30. That's chronos, predictable, measurable. The watch on your wrist ticking away your remaining years. But then there's kairos. That's God's time. That's the moment heaven interrupts your routine. That's when the ordinary becomes supernatural. That's when a random Tuesday morning stops being random and becomes the hinge your entire life swings on. Chronos is the watch on your wrist. Kairos is the knock on your spirit. And this morning was kairos wrapped inside your chronos. You thought you were just waking up to another ordinary day. But while you were shuffling to the bathroom, while you were starting that coffee pot, while you were staring out the window at the same street you've looked at for 40 years, something shifted in the heavenlies. God marked this morning before you opened your eyes. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Pastor, how do I know? How can I tell the difference between just another Monday and a divine appointment? That's exactly what I'm going to show you in the next few minutes. But first, you need to understand why God chose you for this revelation. Because it wasn't random. Nothing about your life has been random. Think about this. You're not just waking up to medication schedules and doctor visits. You're waking up to purpose that hasn't expired. Every morning you open your eyes is God saying, "I'm not done with you yet. I've got plans. I've got assignments. I've got people who need what only you can give them." The enemy wants you to believe your mornings are meaningless. He wants you staring at that ceiling at 5 am thinking, "Why am I still here? What's the point?" But I'm telling you right now, if you're still breathing, you're still on assignment. If your heart is still beating, heaven still has work for you to do. This isn't theory, beloved. This is your life. This is your morning. This is the revelation God has been trying to download into your spirit, but you've been too distracted by Chronos to hear the knock of Kairos. Listen to me. You're not just waking up to another Monday. You're waking up to a divine appointment that's been scheduled since before the foundation of the world. And if you miss this moment, if you treat this morning like every other morning, you might walk past the very thing you've been praying for since your spouse died, since your kids stopped calling, since that diagnosis came back. Can you look back at your life and say, yes, there were mornings that changed everything for me? The morning you met your spouse, the morning you held your first child, the morning you got that phone call. If you know what I'm talking about, write one word in the comments right now. Testify. Your story will light a fire in somebody who's about to give up. Because what I'm about to show you next will prove that this morning, right now, is one of those mornings. You know what God saw last night while you were sleeping? He saw what you hide from everyone else. He saw you reach for that bottle of pills on your nightstand at 2 am because the pain in your knees wouldn't let you rest. He saw you stare at the ceiling, doing that math again, the same math you've been doing for 3 years, trying to figure out if your social security check will stretch through the month. He saw you glance at that empty side of the bed, the side that's been cold now for so long you've stopped pulling the covers tight on that side. Some of you woke up this morning and the first thing you felt wasn't gratitude. It wasn't peace. It was pain. Pain in your back that shot down your legs before your feet touched the floor. Pain in your chest that made you wonder, is this it? Is this the morning I don't make it to the kitchen? You didn't say it out loud. You never do. But you thought it. Lord, I don't know how many more mornings like this I can take. And beloved, heaven heard that whisper. The Bible tells us in Psalm 50 that God collects our tears in a bottle. He keeps track of all our sorrows. But let me tell you something that will shatter your heart wide open. He doesn't just collect your tears. He counts your sleepless nights. He records every silent scream. He documents every moment you smiled at church while dying inside. Your pillow has been an altar soaked in prayers that nobody heard but God. Listen to me carefully. Some of you haven't slept through the night in years. Not because of insomnia, because of loneliness. Because when the TV goes off and the house goes dark, the silence is so loud it screams. The phone that used to ring your daughter calling from Seattle, your son checking in from Dallas, it doesn't ring like it used to, does it? Christmas was 2 weeks ago. How many of your kids made it home? How many called? How long did the conversation last before they had to get back to their real lives? Their busy schedules, their important meetings. You raised them. You sacrificed everything for them. You went without so they could have. You worked 2 jobs so they could go to college. And now you're sitting in a house full of their childhood memories, surrounded by photographs of people who've moved on. The wrinkles on your hands aren't just signs of age. They're rings on a tree. Proof that you survived storms that would have snapped younger timber. Every line on your face is a map of battles fought, tears cried, prayers whispered, meals cooked, grandchildren held, funerals attended, dreams buried. But here's what's crushing you right now, and I need you to hear this because God heard it first. You're afraid not of dying. You made peace with death a long time ago. You're afraid of becoming a burden. You're afraid of that nursing home. You're afraid of losing your mind before you lose your body. You're afraid of outliving your savings and having to ask your kids for help when they're already stretched thin. Last month when you went to the grocery store, you put things back, didn't you? Not because you didn't need them, because the prices have gone insane and your check doesn't go as far as it used to. You're choosing between medication and meat, between heating the house and eating properly, between doctor visits and keeping the lights on. And you haven't told anyone because you're from a generation that doesn't complain. You were taught to handle things, to be strong, to pray and push through. So you smile at church. You say, "I'm blessed," when people ask how you're doing. You post scriptures on Facebook about God's faithfulness while privately wondering if He remembers your address. Job knew this feeling. Job be seen 3:4 records his cry, "I have been allotted months of futility, and nights of misery have been assigned to me. When I lie down I think, how long before I get up? The night drags on, and I toss and turn until dawn." You've been tossing and turning, haven't you? But here's why this morning was different. Here's why heaven circled today on the calendar with your name on it. God doesn't send revelations as random information. He sends them as direct responses to hidden pain. The revelation coming to you this morning isn't about making you feel good for an hour. It's about answering the question you've been too afraid to ask out loud. God, do you still see me? Do I still matter? Is there still purpose in these painful mornings, or am I just waiting to die? This morning, before you even opened your eyes, God was already answering. Not with words you could hear, with a divine appointment you couldn't miss. This message, this moment, this exact second when my voice is reaching into that secret place where you've been hiding your real feelings. Heaven does not ignore silent tears. Psalm 3:14 promises, "The Lord is close to the broken-hearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Crushed, that's the word, isn't it? Not just sad, not just lonely, crushed. Like something heavy has been sitting on your chest for so long you've forgotten what it feels like to breathe freely. But what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes will explain why God allowed the crushing, why He permitted the pain, why He let you walk through valleys that seem to have no end. Because, beloved, the revelation isn't just about comfort, it's about commission. God didn't wake you up this morning just to survive another day. He woke you up to deploy you into the very purpose your pain has been preparing you for. If this is reaching a place in you that sermons don't usually touch, if I'm speaking to wounds you thought God couldn't see, type, "God, I hear you," in the comments right now. It's your way of answering heaven's call, your way of telling God you're ready to understand why the pain had to be this deep. Because what comes next will change everything you thought you knew about your suffering. Now listen to me. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shatter every lie the enemy has whispered in your ear for the last 20 years. This morning, God wanted me to tell you, you are not done. If you were, you wouldn't have woken up today. I know what you've been thinking. I know what plays on repeat in your mind at 3 a.m. when sleep won't come. My best years are behind me. My children are grown. My spouse is gone. I'm just taking up space now, waiting for heaven to call me home. But that thought, that belief that your purpose expired with your retirement party, that's not God's voice. That's the voice of the enemy, and he's terrified of what happens when you realize you're still here for a reason. Society has convinced you that your value ended at 65. They put you in a category labeled senior citizen, like you're something fragile that needs to be set on a shelf. They smile politely when you speak, but their eyes say, your time has passed. They've made you feel like a relic in a museum, something to be admired from the past, but not relevant to the present. But heaven sees something completely different. Heaven sees you as a strategic piece on the chessboard right now, not yesterday. Not in your memories. Right now, this morning. At this exact moment in human history when the world is falling apart and younger generations are drowning in confusion, God looks at you and says, they're ready now. Deploy them. You think your age disqualifies you. Moses was 80 years old when God called him to stand before Pharaoh. 80. The world would have put him in a nursing home. But God said, now you're ready. Now you understand suffering. Now you know what it means to depend on me completely. Everything Moses needed to deliver a nation, he learned in those 80 years of waiting. And Caleb, at 85 years old when other men were measuring their coffins, you know what Caleb said? Give me this mountain. Not give me a rocking chair. Not give me peace and quiet. Give me this mountain. Give me the giants. Give me the impossible. Joshua 4:11 records his words, I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me. He wasn't talking about his muscles. He was talking about his spirit, his fire, his refusal to believe the lie that age equals irrelevance. Right now, there's a granddaughter in your family who's about to give up on her marriage. She's sitting in her car in a parking lot, phone in her hand, trying to decide if she should call the divorce lawyer. And the only voice that can reach her isn't a counselor with a degree. It's you. It's the grandmother who stayed when leaving would have been easier. It's your story, your scars, your proof that love is worth fighting for. Right now, there's a young man in your church who's being crushed by depression. He's smiling on Sunday mornings, but Monday through Saturday he's planning his exit from this world. And what he needs isn't another sermon about joy. What he needs is an older believer who knows how to pray prayers that shake heaven. The kind of prayers you learned in the valley. The kind of intercession that comes from decades of watching God show up when all hope was gone. Right now, there's someone in your neighborhood making the same mistake you made 30 years ago. And they need your wisdom, not your judgment, not your I told you so. They need you to sit across the table, look them in the eye and say, I've been exactly where you are. And here's what I learned. You're not a retired soul. You're a reservist heaven just called back on duty. You're not on the shelf. You're on standby. And this morning God activated you. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what makes angels weep. You've been sitting in your house, in your routine, in your loneliness, believing you're finished. Meanwhile, people are dying, literally dying, for lack of what you carry. Marriages are crumbling for lack of your counsel. Young people are giving up for lack of your encouragement. Prayers aren't being prayed because you've convinced yourself your prayers don't matter anymore. Your breath this morning wasn't random. Your heartbeat isn't an accident. Every sunrise you witness is God saying, I still have plans for you. I still have people who need you. I still have assignments with your name on them. The enemy wants you silent. He wants you sidelined. He wants you convinced that your season is over, because he knows something you're just beginning to remember. He knows that a believer with 70, 80, 90 years of proven faithfulness is the most dangerous weapon in God's arsenal. You've seen too much to be shaken by circumstances. You've survived too much to be intimidated by opposition. You've walked with God too long to doubt His goodness when things look dark. You are not done. If you refuse to believe the lie that your value is behind you, if something in your spirit is rising up right now saying, I still have purpose, type it in the comments. Let's flood this place with defiance against the enemy's whispers. Let heaven see an army of chosen ones who refuse to go quietly into the night. Because what I'm about to tell you next is going to explain why God had to wait until now, until this exact season of your life, to reveal what He's revealing this morning. It's going to make sense of every delayed answer, every closed door, every year you thought was wasted. The revelation has layers, and we're just beginning to peel them back. Now listen to me, chosen one. I need you to go back with me, back to that moment. You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe it was 1997, maybe it was 20 that job you didn't get, that person who walked away, that house you couldn't buy, that dream that died in your hands like a bird that stopped breathing. You've carried it ever since, haven't you? That question that wakes you up at 2 a.m. God, did you forget me? Did I do something wrong? Did I miss my moment? You look back at your life and you see gaps. Empty spaces where blessing should have been. Decades where nothing happened. And somewhere deep inside, you started believing a lie. You started thinking God was punishing you. That you weren't good enough. That He gave everyone else their breakthrough but somehow skipped your address. Let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. He didn't forget you. He shielded you. Those doors that slammed in your face, those weren't rejections. Those were interventions, divine interventions. God wasn't saying no to you. He was saying no to the trap you couldn't see. Think about it. That relationship that ended, the one that broke your heart into 1,000 pieces. What if that person would have destroyed you 5 years down the road? What if staying with them would have cost you your faith, your sanity, your very soul? That job you begged for, the one that went to someone else while you sat there humiliated, overlooked, passed over. What if that company collapsed 2 years later? What if everyone who worked there lost everything? That move you wanted to make, that city you dreamed about, that fresh start you prayed for. What if God knew that place would have swallowed you whole? What if the very thing you thought would save you was actually designed to destroy you? Let me tell you about a woman I knew. We'll call her Ruth. For 15 years she prayed to move to California. 15 years, every door closed. Every opportunity fell through. She felt forgotten, abandoned, like God was playing some cruel game with her heart. But here's what Ruth didn't know. That city she wanted, that neighborhood she had picked out, within 3 years of her last prayer about it, that area became ground zero for a crisis that destroyed families, bankrupted communities, and left people spiritually devastated. God didn't ignore Ruth's prayer. He protected Ruth from her prayer. Do you understand what I'm telling you? The delays you've been resenting were actually God throwing his body between you and destruction. Every closed door was a guardrail. Every denied request was divine mercy you couldn't recognize, because you were too busy counting what you didn't get instead of what you didn't lose. Psalm 10:49 says, "No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly." Read that again. No good thing. If God withheld it, it wasn't good. It looked good, it felt good, it seemed good. But God saw the end from the beginning, and he loved you too much to let you have what would have killed you. Sometimes God parks your life in a quiet cul-de-sac to keep you from speeding off a cliff. But here's what breaks my heart. You've spent decades angry at the very God who was protecting you. You've been bitter toward the one who was standing between you and disaster. You've been questioning the faithfulness of the Father who loved you enough to say no when yes would have destroyed you. This morning, right now, God is pulling back the curtain. He's showing you what you couldn't see. That delay you hated, it saved your life. That door that wouldn't open, it kept you from walking into hell. That person who left, they would have taken you down with them. You weren't forgotten, beloved. You were favored. You weren't passed over. You were protected. You weren't punished. You were preserved for this exact moment. Because here's the revelation within the revelation. Every delay was strategic positioning. God wasn't making you wait for nothing. He was making you wait for something so specific, so perfect, so aligned with his ultimate plan for your life that anything less would have been settling. You think you wasted years? No, you were being refined. You think nothing happened. Everything happened. In the invisible realm, in the spiritual dimension, God was moving mountains, redirecting enemies, repositioning circumstances, and preparing a blessing so massive that if it had come any earlier, you wouldn't have been ready to receive it. Isaiah 30:10 declares, "Therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you." God was waiting. Not because he was indifferent, but because he wanted to be gracious to you at exactly the right moment. And that moment, it's connected to this morning. If this word is confirming things you've always felt but never had language for, don't just sit on it. Hit that like button right now so this message reaches another senior who thinks God is done with them. Make sure you're subscribed and that bell is on, because there's more revelation coming in the days ahead, not just today. But stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you next will blow your mind. We've talked about why this morning was marked. We've uncovered why your delays were protection. But now I need to explain the third layer of this revelation, why your body is aging. But your spirit is about to step into a fresh assignment starting today. Because, beloved, the waiting is over. The delay has served its purpose. And what God protected you from in the past is nothing compared to what he's about to release you into right now. But here's where it gets real, chosen one. Here's where heaven stops whispering and starts commanding. This morning wasn't just about you feeling different. This morning, God handed you marching orders. Listen to me carefully. Heaven did not wake you up just to pat you on the back and say, "Good job surviving another night." No. The Almighty opened your eyes this morning because he's activating you for assignment. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Today. Right now. This very hour. You think you're retired. God doesn't do retirement. You think you're too old to be used. Moses was 80 when he stood before Pharaoh. You think your best days are behind you. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah in the temple and became the first evangelist to proclaim his coming. Your age is not your limitation. It's your qualification. But I need you to understand something that's going to shake the foundation of how you see your remaining years. God is not asking you to rent a stadium. He's not calling you to start a mega church. He's not demanding you sell everything and move to Africa. Something far more powerful. Something the enemy fears more than any platform or pulpit. He's asking you to show up every single morning and report for duty in the secret place. Think about this. Right now in your neighborhood, there's a family falling apart. The husband's drinking again. The wife's taking pills she doesn't need. The kids have stopped coming around. They live 3 houses down from you, and they're drowning in silence. But you got a phone, you've got a prayer list. You've got 70, 80, 90 years of walking with God. And that kind of faith carries weight in the spiritual realm that no young believer can match. God is positioning you as an intercessor, a watchman on the wall, someone who stands in the gap when everyone else is asleep. Ezekiel 22:30 says, I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one. Do you hear that? God was searching for just one person willing to stand in the gap. One person willing to pray when it seemed like nothing was happening. One person willing to believe when everyone else had given up. That person is you. But here's what breaks my heart. Too many of you have believed the lie that your season of usefulness is over. You've let the world convince you that because you can't do what you did at 40, you can't do anything at all. You've accepted the narrative that retirement means withdrawal from kingdom assignment. That's not God's voice. That's the enemy trying to silence the most dangerous weapon in his warfare, a seasoned saint who knows how to pray with authority. Let me tell you what your assignment looks like. It's simple, it's doable. It doesn't require you to leave your house or spend money you don't have. 1 phone call a day. That's it. 1 call to the person God drops into your spirit when you're drinking your morning coffee. Maybe it's your granddaughter who's struggling with anxiety. Maybe it's that widow from church who hasn't heard from anyone in weeks. Maybe it's your neighbor whose husband just passed. You call them. You speak life. You remind them they're not forgotten. That's ministry, beloved. That's kingdom work. That's you being the hands and feet of Jesus in a world that's desperate for someone who actually cares. Or maybe your assignment is prayer. Every morning you sit in that same chair, you open that same Bible, and you lift up your family by name. You declare protection over your bloodline. You break generational curses. You speak blessing over children who don't even know you're fighting for them in the spirit. Do you understand the power you carry? While they're scrolling through social media, you're moving heaven. While they're worried about things that won't matter in a year, you're investing in eternity. Ephesians 6:2 reminds us, For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. This is real warfare, chosen one. And God needs soldiers who've been battle-tested, who've survived storms that would have sunk younger believers. Don't think stage. Don't think spotlight, think phone call. Think prayer list. Think 1 person a day who needs to know they matter. Every morning from now on is not just about waking up. It's about reporting for duty. Every sunrise is your roll call in God's army. Every breath is another opportunity to push back darkness. You're not just a retiree collecting Social Security. You're a watchman on the wall. You're an intercessor with access to the throne room. You're a voice crying out in the wilderness of this generation's chows. But assignments require acceptance. Heaven is extending the commission, but you have to take it. So let me ask you the question that will determine whether this morning becomes a turning point or just another day you let slip through your fingers. Are you willing to say yes? Are you willing to show up every morning God gives you and ask, Lord, who needs me today? Who am I praying for? Who am I calling? Who am I encouraging? If you're ready, if something in your spirit is standing at attention right now, type in the comments, I report for duty. Let heaven see your yes. Let the angels witness your covenant. Let the enemy know he's got a problem on his hands. Because when a seasoned saint says yes to God, the spiritual atmosphere shifts. Strongholds crack, chains break, lives change. But there's something else you need to know. 3 specific prophetic actions God is calling you to take before the sun sets today. 3 simple steps that will activate this assignment and release heaven's response over your obedience. And what I'm about to show you will prove that this morning was marked before time began. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret Richardson, 73 years old, lived alone in a rent-controlled apartment in Queens for the last 11 years. Ever since Harold passed, every morning same routine, same blue robe, same instant coffee, same chair by the window that looked out at nothing but brick walls and fire escapes. She'd wake up around 5:30 a.m., not because she wanted to, but because sleep doesn't come easy when you're wondering if anyone would notice if you just stopped waking up altogether. This particular morning, it was a Tuesday in March, cold rain tapping against the window. Margaret sat in that chair and stared at her phone. Her daughter's number was right there on the screen, but they hadn't spoken in 4 years. Not since the argument. Not since the words that can't be taken back were thrown like grenades across a Thanksgiving table. Margaret had stopped praying about it 6 months ago. Stopped hoping. Stopped believing that God cared about a 73-year-old woman whose best years were crumbling behind her like old newspaper. She picked up her coffee. It was bitter. Everything was bitter. But then something happened that she couldn't explain, couldn't rationalize, couldn't dismiss. Her hand, without her permission, reached for the Bible on the side table, the one Harold gave her in 1991. The one she hadn't opened in 9 months, because what's the point of reading promises when your life is proof they don't come true? The Bible fell open. Not to a bookmark, not to a ribbon, it just opened to Isaiah 4:3, and her eyes, blurry with age and tears she refused to shed, landed on verse 19. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth, do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it? Margaret's hands started shaking, not from arthritis, from recognition, from something ancient waking up in her chest that she thought had died with Harold. She read it again. I am doing a new thing. Not I did, not I will, I am doing. Present tense, active, happening right now. Her throat tightened, her eyes burned, and before she knew what she was doing, before her fear could stop her, before her pride could remind her of all the reasons this was foolish, her trembling finger pressed her daughter's number. 3 rings, 4. Then a voice she hadn't heard in 60 days. Mom. Just that, just Mom, but Margaret heard something underneath it. Something broken. Something that had been waiting. Rachel, Margaret whispered, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And I need you to know. God woke me up this morning just to tell you that He hasn't forgotten you either. Silence on the line. The kind of silence that's louder than screaming. Then crying. Rachel was crying, and through the tears words tumbled out like a dam breaking. Mom, I couldn't do this anymore. I was going to end it today. I had the pills in my hand. I was waiting until the kids left for school. Margaret's coffee cup hit the floor, shattered, brown liquid spreading across old linoleum. But she didn't care about the mess, because she understood in that moment, with a clarity that made her gasp, why her hand had reached for that Bible, why that page had opened, why her finger had dialed. God hadn't woken her up for herself. He woke her up to save her daughter's life. One small yes, in a quiet kitchen in Queens, just echoed through eternity. A trembling hand picked up the phone, but a mighty God picked up a destiny that was 3 seconds from being buried. 6 months later, Rachel moved back to New York, started attending church, brought her kids. One of those kids, Margaret's grandson Tyler, gave his life to Christ last November. He's now leading a youth group. 37 teenagers. 37 souls who would have never been reached if Margaret had ignored that whisper on a rainy Tuesday morning. But here's what tears me apart, chosen one. Here's what keeps me awake at night. Margaret almost didn't pick up that Bible. She almost talked herself out of it. Almost convinced herself she was too old, too late, too irrelevant for God to use. How many Rachels are out there right now, 3 seconds from a decision they can't undo, waiting for someone to say yes to a whisper you've been ignoring? How many grandchildren will never know Christ because you convinced yourself your morning was ordinary when heaven marked it as extraordinary? This morning could be that morning for you. The morning where you quietly say yes in your kitchen and heaven loudly rearranges your future, and your daughter's future, and your grandson's future, and 37 teenagers who don't even know your name yet, but will spend eternity thanking God you listened. One trembling yes, that's all it takes. One phone call, one opened Bible, one moment of obedience when fear is screaming no and faith is whispering try me. If you believe God can still write a story like Margaret's with your life, if you believe this morning wasn't random, if something in your 73-year-old chest is pounding right now saying, I'm not done yet, type in the comments, do it again, Lord. Because Margaret's story didn't start with a miracle. It started with a morning, just like yours. But what happened next changed everything. Listen to me, chosen one. You can't just receive a revelation from heaven and do nothing with it. You can't feel the fire and then go back to sleep. That's not how God operates. When He whispers, He expects movement. When He marks a morning, He's looking for obedience before the sun goes down. So here's what I need you to understand right now. This morning wasn't given to you as a pleasant feeling. It was given to you as a divine assignment. And assignments require action. Not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, before your head hits that pillow tonight, God is watching to see if you'll respond to what He initiated. I'm going to give you 3 prophetic actions. 3 keys that heaven laid on your kitchen table this morning while you were pouring that coffee. These aren't suggestions. These aren't optional upgrades to your spiritual life. These are commands wrapped in grace. And if you ignore them, you'll wake up tomorrow and that door heaven cracked open will have closed. Are you hearing me? This is urgent. Action number 1. Write what God is whispering this morning. Right now I want you to stop everything. I don't care if you're watching this on your phone, your tablet, or your television. Pause this video if you need to. Go find a pen. Find a notebook, a journal, or even the back of an old envelope sitting on your counter. And I want you to write down 1 sentence that captures what God has been whispering to your spirit this morning. Not what you think you should write. Not some religious-sounding phrase you heard in church 40 years ago. What is God saying to you right now, this morning, in this season of your life? Maybe it's, I haven't forgotten you. Maybe it's, your pain has purpose. Maybe it's, stop waiting and start walking. Whatever it is, write it down. Because here's what happens when you put revelation on paper. It stops being a vague emotion and becomes a concrete covenant between you and heaven. Jeremiah 32 says, write in a book all the words that I have spoken to you. God doesn't waste words. When He speaks, He expects documentation. Why? Because when doubt creeps in tomorrow, when the enemy whispers that you imagined this whole thing, you'll have proof. Black ink on white paper. Evidence that heaven spoke and you were listening. Your memory will fade, beloved, but what you write becomes a witness. Action number 2. Reach out to 1 person. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Here's where most people bail out. Because receiving revelation feels spiritual. Taking action feels risky. I need you to ask the Holy Spirit right now, not later, right now. Who do I need to check on today? And the moment a name drops into your spirit, don't analyze it, don't question it. Don't talk yourself out of it because it's awkward, or because you haven't spoken to them in 6 months, or because they hurt you back in 2019. Pick up that phone, send that text, leave that voice message. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be profound. I was thinking about you this morning. Just wanted you to know you're on my heart. You know why God does this. You know why He asks you to reach out to someone on the same day He gives you revelation. Because obedience is the bridge between receiving and releasing. You can't keep what God gives you if you're not willing to pour it out. Acts 10 tells the story of Cornelius. An angel appeared to him and told him to send for Peter. And the Bible says Cornelius called his servants at once, not the next day, not when it was convenient, at once. Because when heaven gives you a name, timing is part of the assignment. That person you're thinking about right now, they're not random. God woke you up this morning and marked your timeline because He knew that at 2:04 say this afternoon, they'd be sitting in their car wondering if anybody cares whether they live or die. And your message, your simple, obedient message, is going to pull them back from an edge you can't even see. Don't you dare ignore this. Action number 3. Pray intentionally over tomorrow morning. Before you close your eyes tonight, before you take that last sip of water and turn off the lamp on your nightstand, I need you to do something you've probably never done before. I need you to pray over tomorrow morning. Not a quick, God bless my day prayer. A strategic, intentional, prophetic prayer that invites the Almighty into the most mundane moments of your waking hours. Pray over your breakfast table. Pray over the pills you'll take. Pray over the first thoughts that will enter your mind when your eyes open. Ask God to meet you in your kitchen. Ask Him to speak through the silence. Ask Him to turn your coffee ritual into a communion moment. Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly, wait expectantly." That's not passive hoping. That's active anticipation. That's waking up knowing heaven has already prepared something before you even got out of bed. Here's what you need to understand. These 3 actions are not religious hoops to jump through. These are keys. This morning, God laid them on your kitchen table. And what you do with them in the next 12 hours will determine whether tomorrow morning is just another day or another divine appointment. So let me ask you directly, which one are you going to start with? Drop it in the comments right now. Type 1, 2, or 3. And if you're all in, if you're going to do all 3 before the sun goes down, type all 3. Let heaven see your commitment. Let the angels witness your obedience. And one more thing. Share this message with one person who needs to know their mornings still matter to God. Because, beloved, this isn't just about you anymore. But before you do anything else, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you next. Because there's one more thing God showed me about this morning that will shatter everything you thought you knew about divine timing. Listen to me, beloved. We've come to the sacred part of this moment. What I'm about to do isn't just talk. This is declaration. This is prophetic speaking over your timeline, your mornings, your remaining years on this earth. If you're able, I want you to place your hand over your heart right now. If your hands ache too much, just lift one finger toward this screen. Because I'm about to speak words over your life that hell has tried to silence for decades. You ready? I declare over you right now, in the name of Jesus Christ, that your age does not disqualify you. The lie that whispered you're too old dies today. Your 70s are not your sunset, they're your commissioning. Your 80s are not your decline, they're your deployment. Every grey hair on your head is a crown of glory, and heaven still has assignments with your name written on them. I break the spirit of invisibility off your life. You are not a burden to your children. You are not taking up space. You are not in the way. You are a living altar, a walking testimony, a breathing miracle that this generation needs to witness. Psalm 2:4 says, "They will still bear fruit in old age, they will stay fresh and green, not dried up, not forgotten, not finished." I speak freshness over your spirit right now. I speak renewed vision over your tired eyes. I speak purpose over every morning you wake up wondering why you're still here. Here's what God showed me about you specifically. Every time the sun hits your kitchen table, every time that light comes through your window and lands on that same spot it's landed for 20 years, that's not coincidence. That's God saying, I'm still here, and I still need you here. Your mornings are not empty, chosen one. They're full of divine appointments you can't see yet. That coffee you make every day at 6 a.m., you think it's just routine. But there's a prayer being answered somewhere because you're still breathing. There's a grandchild being protected because you're still interceding. There's a generational curse being broken because you refused to quit. I declare over your future, and listen closely because this is straight from the throne room. Your best prayers haven't been prayed yet. Your most powerful words haven't been spoken yet. The thing you're going to say next Tuesday at 2:10 p.m. to someone you haven't even met yet, that sentence is going to save their life. You think your story is ending. I'm telling you it's crystallizing. Everything you've been through, every betrayal, every loss, every tear-soaked pillow, every bill you couldn't pay, every diagnosis that tried to kill you, all of it was preparation. Your pain wasn't pointless. It was prophetic. Isaiah 4:6 declares, even to your old age and grey hairs I am he will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you. Did you catch that? God didn't say he'll tolerate you in your old age. He said he'll carry you, sustain you, rescue you. I break every word curse spoken over your aging. I cancel every doctor's report that tried to put an expiration date on your purpose. I demolish every statistic about senior citizens that made you feel worthless. You are not a statistic. You are a chosen vessel. And I'm about to tell you something that's going to wreck you. The reason you woke up this morning with that strange knowing, that unexplainable peace mixed with urgency, it's because heaven downloaded your next assignment while you were sleeping. Your spirit received it before your mind could process it. That restlessness you feel, that's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Your soul knows something's coming that your flesh hasn't caught up to yet. I speak over your mornings from this day forward. Every sunrise you see is God dialing your number. Every bird that sings outside your window is a messenger saying, the King still knows your address. Every ache in your body that reminds you you're still here, that's proof you're still needed. Jeremiah 13:1 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Not a past, not just memories, a future. At 75, at 82, at 90 years old. Your heart is like a window, beloved, and today, right now, God is pulling the curtains open again. Light is flooding in. Vision is returning. Hope is rising. I declare that every morning from now on, you will wake up with purpose burning in your chest instead of pain. You will shuffle to that kitchen knowing you're walking on holy ground. You will sip that coffee understanding its communion with the Creator who said, not yet. I'm not done with you yet. If you receive these declarations, if something broke open in your spirit just now, type Amen or I receive it in the comments. That's not just a word. That's you signing the agreement with heaven. That's you telling the angels, I'm ready for what God just released over my life. Because, beloved, this isn't the end of your story. This is the chapter where everything you've survived finally makes sense. Chosen one, before I release you back into your day, I need you to hold on to 3 things that heaven whispered over you this morning. Write them down if you have to. Tattoo them on your heart if you must. You're not done. Your delays were divine protection. And every morning from now on is your sacred assignment. Let that settle into the deepest part of your spirit. You see, the enemy has been running a campaign against seniors in this nation. He's convinced an entire generation that once you hit 70, once you retire, once your kids move away and your spouse goes home to glory, you're finished. You're just waiting, counting down. marking time until heaven calls you home. That is a lie from the pit of hell. God doesn't have a retirement plan for his chosen ones. He has a redeployment strategy. Moses didn't touch his calling until he was 80 years old. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your expiration date. It's your activation code. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, whether it's with that same pain in your lower back, whether it's with peace you haven't felt in years, whether it's with more questions than answers, I need you to remember something. You are not just waking up. You are reporting for duty. You're not dragging yourself out of bed to exist another day. You're rising as a warrior in God's invisible army. Every pill you take is taken with purpose. Every cup of coffee you pour is poured with assignment. Every breath you draw is a battle cry that says, "Hell, I'm still here and I'm still dangerous." Your body may feel weaker. Your knees may not bend like they used to. You might need 10 minutes just to get out of that chair. But listen to me, heaven doesn't measure you by steps per day. God measures you by prayers per day, love per day, obedience per day, faith per day. While younger generations are climbing corporate ladders, you're climbing Jacob's ladder. While they're building empires that will crumble, you're building legacies that will echo through eternity. While they're chasing what rusts and fades, you're storing up treasures in heaven that moths can't touch and thieves can't steal. And here's what's going to wreck you in the most beautiful way. You are not alone in this. Right now, thousands of chosen ones across America are sitting in their living rooms, lying in their hospital beds, standing in their kitchens, watching this same message. From New York to California, from Florida to Alaska, God is raising up a hidden army of seniors that the world has written off, but heaven has written on. You are part of something so much bigger than your individual mourning. You are connected to a remnant, a resistance, a revival that's being birthed in the prayer closets of 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds who refuse to believe their best days are behind them. Think of this channel as your lighthouse. You may be alone in the boat, navigating waters that feel dark and uncertain, but you are never without light. Every message I bring you is another beam cutting through the fog, saying keep going, stay the course. Your harbor is closer than you think. Now before you close this video, I need something from you. Don't leave quietly. Tell me in the comments just one word. One word that describes what you're feeling right now. Hope, peace, convicted, seen, angry, confused. Whatever it is, type it. Because your one word is going to preach to somebody else who's reading these comments at 2 in the morning, wondering if they're the only one who feels this way. And if you're new here, if this is the first time you've stumbled onto this channel, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. Because every time God gives me a new morning word for you, I need it to find you right where you are. At your kitchen table with your Bible open, in your favorite chair with your coffee getting cold, even in your hospital bed if that's where tomorrow finds you. One more thing. I want you to think of one person right now, another senior. Maybe it's your sister who's been depressed since her husband died. Maybe it's your neighbor who sits alone every evening. Maybe it's a parent who keeps saying their time has passed. Send them this video. Don't ask permission. Don't wait for the right moment. Send it now as your way of saying, God is not done with you. Because, beloved, this morning was just the beginning. Tomorrow morning, heaven is going to speak again. And the next morning. And the next. Stay ready, chosen one. Your finest hour is breaking through the dawn.